His interests were quite varied, and he was supportive of an incredible variety of causes, but few people really grasp this. Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth have been each other's rock for decades. But Prince Philip made an unexpected choice after 70 years of marriage. Living with the Queen was no longer something he desired. People were confused about what went wrong with this sudden change. How individual was this choice? Or did something else happen? The truth stayed a mystery for years. But in an unexpected turn of events, Princess Anne, King Charles, and Prince Andrew have all come clean about their father's true motive for leaving. Keep watching as we reveal the hidden backstory of Prince Philip's decision not to reside in Buckingham Palace with the Queen. The only daughter of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth, Princess Anne, has shocked everyone by revealing why her father, Prince Philip, did not live with her. The reasons Prince Philip decided not to spend his last years at Buckingham Palace with the Queen have been the subject of several theories for a long time, but the facts have come to light at last. The truth behind her father's decision has been revealed by Princess Anne, who is often referred to as his favorite, and her brothers, Princes Charles and Andrew, have backed her up in her assertions. Keep watching as we reveal everything. Princess Anne and Prince Philip had an unusually close relationship for a royal family, one that was neither formal nor distant. She had a reputation for being her father's daughter due to her outspokenness, abrasiveness, stubbornness, strong will, sarcasm, and humor, which she frequently let others down. They took pleasure in making fun of naive people and were impatient with those who didn't grasp concepts as fast as they did. However, their steadfast devotion was the most striking thing. Princess Anne and Prince Philip were unable to find fault with one another. On the contrary, they respectfully criticized each other in a light-hearted manner. While her brothers were busy with royal duties, Princess Anne watched as her parents fought and fought again. The world saw her parents as the picture-perfect royal pair. But Anne knew better. She had witnessed the truth firsthand. Not only that, though. Some of the difficulties Prince Philip encountered as a husband to Queen Elizabeth were also shared with his daughter by him. But to get to the bottom of Prince Philip's decision to distance himself, we must travel back in time to the very beginning, to the time before Princess Anne and her brothers came into our world. At a wedding in 1934, Queen Elizabeth, then known as Princess Elizabeth, met Prince Philip, a Greek prince in exile, for the first time. She was just 8 years old, while he was 13. It wasn't until they reconnected 5 years later that anything happened. Princess Elizabeth had just turned 13 years old, and Prince Philip was 18. But she wasn't the only one. Dartmouth, Devon's Britannia Royal Naval College, was the destination of her family's sightseeing tour. Philip was one of the cadets they were supposed to meet with. Unfortunately, the vacation was cut short because a mumps and chickenpox epidemic occurred at the same time. Prince Philip paid a visit to the headmaster's house to entertain the young princesses, and they skipped the chapel service altogether. Among those who escaped the virus's clutches was him. When Philip finally had enough of being inside, he summoned the princesses to come outside. He switched it up and started playing croquet, showing off his carefree athletic personality while leaping over tennis nets. This piqued the interest of Princess Elizabeth. She was enamored with him from that first second. She said afterwards that after that day, she couldn't look at anyone else. This meeting sparked a powerful adolescent love on Philip, and the two began writing letters throughout the war years as he served in the Royal Navy. Elizabeth was so enamored with him that she kept a portrait of him in her room. Prince Philip's romance with Princess Elizabeth flourished upon his return from the Pacific Theatre in 1946. He asked her to be his wife on June while they were at Balmoral. It makes all one's personal and even global problems appear tiny and unimportant, he wrote in a 1946 letter, to have been spared in the war and seen triumph, to have been given the chance to relax and readjust myself, and to have fallen in love completely and wholeheartedly. Even though King George VI proposed, Queen Elizabeth's father was hesitant about the couple getting married. He was worried that Elizabeth was settling for an unsuitable man because she was too young. Maybe her feelings for Philip might shift if she met someone else. This is why no one in the royal family spoke out when Philip proposed to Elizabeth. Furthermore, Philip's proposal met with some opposition from inside the royal family. Although Philip is a member of the royal family and a direct descendant of Queen Victoria, Elizabeth is only third cousin to him. Many people thought Philip was unfit to marry Princess Elizabeth because he was too rough, uncultured, German, Greek, and un-English. Elizabeth, however, was adamant. Philip had won her heart, and she was hell-bent on marrying him. They didn't formally announce their engagement until July 1947, 1 year after Elizabeth turned 21. Become a member of the Church of England and relinquish his royal titles from Denmark and Greece before he could marry Elizabeth. Since Philip loved Elizabeth so much, he did this without thinking twice. Philip was officially admitted into the Church of England by the Archbishop of Canterbury on October 3, 1947, despite his baptism having been performed in the Greek Orthodox Church. A new, more English surname, Mountbatten, was also bestowed upon him. Princess Elizabeth wed Prince Philip in London's Westminster Abbey on November 20, 1947. Their subsequent honeymoon was spent in the Broadlands, the English estate of Earl Mountbatten, Philip's uncle. The location was Hampshire. Unbeknownst to Philip, however, a transformation of his life's trajectory was imminent. Prince Philip remained a naval officer after his wedding and rose quickly through the ranks. Charles, their first son, and Anne, their second daughter, were born a year and a half after they were married. Philip was appointed to the position of command at Malta after a successful naval career. While the children remained in England, Princess Elizabeth made the journey to be by his side. For a little while, they had a very ordinary life, but then their world turned upside down. King George became unwell and passed away in 1952. It had just been 5 years since they tied the knot. Everything changed for Elizabeth and Philip. There was a lot of adjusting to do for Philip, who was 30 years old now that Elizabeth, who was 25 years old, was queen. They had anticipated having more freedom to pursue their own interests and have fun before to Elizabeth's accession to the throne. But destiny had other intentions. With Elizabeth's accession to the throne imminent, Philip, what was he to become? He wasn't a monarch, but he would always be second fiddle to Queen Elizabeth. This was something they had known the whole time, but it was still going to change their relationship. He was forced to abandon any aspirations he may have had inside the Royal Navy due to Elizabeth's succession. It must have been difficult for a guy accustomed to leading ships to be thrust into a supporting role all of a sudden. It was highly unusual for a wife to have more power and influence than her husband in the 1950s. Thus, that should be taken into consideration. Philip had it even worse because his wife was the head of the country, which meant that she had to put duty ahead of family. It was the beginning of a lengthy battle for Philip, one that would shape his choice to spend his golden years apart from the Queen. But what caused it to occur? Join us to discover the answer: the difficulties of being a royal. Philip broke the news to Elizabeth that her father